Well, that game was a complete 180 from last night. Just a complete 180. From yesterday, losing to the Islanders, the Flyers played a really good game. It was just even though it's the same mistakes that cost them in the end, the Flyers played a good game yesterday. Today was the complete opposite. Flyers didn't have a good game today, especially the start. The start was, it was awful. The start to this game was so bad for the Flyers. I can't comprehend it. I just can't process in my mind how you can have that bad of a start. And what else do you have to say without sounding like a broken record? Everyone has been sounding like a broken record basically since the start of the season, because same mistakes are what kill you in this game. Having a bad first period, turnovers, and leaving your goaltender out to dry, and then having to force yourself to make that desperation comeback when the comeback falls shortly in the game. And yeah, the comeback at the end definitely is going to make a lot of people mad, because you're going to think, where was this type of energy when the game started? Where was this type of energy throughout the entire game? And yeah, the Flyers did have their opportunities in this game as well. They had two shorthanded opportunities and they missed on them. And also I would say the refereeing was definitely questionable. It was really iffy. Just really, really iffy. And even though that's like, the refereeing definitely isn't to blame for the game, it's nowhere close, but I just wanted to point that out, because for both sides, the refereeing was just, it didn't look good. I would say that, I guess, to say the least. But just this game in general, how do you have a completely different type of effort than what you had yesterday? Yesterday, even though there's no morale victories from yesterday, it's something to build off of, because you actually played one of your better games of the season, even though you lost. Find a way to build off of that and come in tonight against a weaker team in the Devils. But you completely did the reverse. You came out with no effort. You let them jump on you early, and you let them score on the opportunities that you gave them. The Flyers look so easy to play in their own defensive zone. It's not even funny on how bad they are in their own zone. And yeah, that's been one of the things with the Flyers for like so many years now. They've been bad in their own zone. And this year was one of those years. And it's completely different from what last year was, when the Flyers were really good in their own zone and they had solid defense. This year, it feels like everyone is having their bad season at once. And it kind of does feel that way. Just everyone is having a bad season at once. Even though, yes, there are a lot of things missing in this roster. Definitely, this team is missing quite a few things. And who knows what happens. I know Chuck Fletcher does have a press conference tomorrow. So I guess we're going to see how he addresses everything. Even though he's not going to give you the answers you want. He's a GM. He's not going to give away what he's going to do. But I'm sure he's going to say, yeah, we're definitely going to look into the trade market or something like that. We're definitely going to try to look to make this roster better, make this team better, yada, yada, yada. Typical management talk. They're not going to give you all of the X's and O's. But yeah, there's definitely a missing key to this team, or missing pieces, I should say. And yeah, there's a lot of work put ahead in this team. And yeah, I still don't think that one move is going to fix this entire thing. And honestly, what I expect, they're probably just going to add some depth pieces, like they did last year, and then really attack this thing once the offseason comes after the expansion draft. That's when I really see this team really trying to get fixed and try to go all in. That's really when I expect you really, like, with the way the team is playing now, like, can you honestly go all in for like a rental type of player? Because where I'm at now, I don't think giving up a first round pick, giving up a top tier prospect for a rental type of guy that's either going to be just the 1 year left on his contract, or he has another year left on his contract where you have to worry about the expansion draft with this guy, and then you might lose another young person. I don't think the Flyers are in that scenario where they should do that, just because of how much they're losing ground. I don't think they're in the position to go that hard in the trade deadline. Like I said, I expect them to go more for the cheaper type of guys that are going to be really low risk, more just a depth type of piece, and then they really tackle all the moves that are going to be needed for the offseason after the expansion draft. That's what I really see happening, because right now, like I said, in the position that you are now, I really don't think you are in that type of range to offer a first round pick, because you're not guaranteed to make the playoffs. And that first round pick is going to be a lottery pick, so I wouldn't risk that. Why would you want to give up a top tier prospect for a guy that's most likely going to be here only for one season? I don't see the value in that either. So yeah, I think what they're going to do is most likely go after depth. And still, who knows when that's going to happen. Could be this week, could be next week, could be right before the trade deadline, could be on the trade deadline. Never know. You never know what is going to happen. But just this game in general, just the start was bad. The start was bad. The Devils were running all over this team, just completely all over. Flyers couldn't get out of their own zone. They couldn't generate a shot in the first, it felt like 5-7 minutes of the game. And that's what happened when you can't get it out of your own zone. You struggle to get it into the offensive zone. The Devils are going to pounce on you, and that's what they did halfway through it. They got a rush. They got a nice, it looked like a 2-on-1 at first. The puck goes to Michael McLeod, and then he does a little nice move. Carter Hart bites on it, gets around him, and puts it in the net, and it's 1-0 Devils. And this game, too, I'm not blaming on Carter Hart. The defense in front of him was just atrocious, and he was left out to dry. So, even though I'm not going to say I wasn't a fan of what Carter Hart did on that play, but this game wasn't his fault. This game was just the team defense in front of him playing like trash like they've been the entire season. But the Flyers, not that long after, they get a power play. And yeah, the power plays in this game, like I said, a lot of teams were arguing back and forth on the power plays. Flyers took a penalty like at the 30 seconds into the game, Justin Braun. And yeah, that was a penalty. But we'll get into the questionable calls later because, yeah, there's definitely some type of questionable calls in this game. So Flyers go to the power play, and the power play looks really sloppy at first. It's really, really sloppy. And in that ensuing sloppiness, they somehow get a goal. There's a little bit of a net mount scramble. Joel Farabee whacking his stick at it a couple of times, doesn't get all of it, but the puck still somehow trickles into the net. And he ties the game at 1, and Joel Farabee is the leading goal scorer for the Flyers this year with a 14, a 21-year-old leading your team in goals. This kid's good. This kid is really good, and he's been one of the more consistent guys on the team this year, and there haven't been a lot. Really, the only guys you can say have been consistent are Farabee, maybe Couturier, JVR, even though JVR has been going on a little bit of a skirt without getting some points, but he's been more consistent than not. Giroux lately, yes, has been a little bit more consistent, but there really hasn't been full throttle consistency with this entire team. That's one of the problems too. They're not consistent. They're just not. And this loss right here, it's a 3-game losing streak now. And I think the Flyers in their last 11 games are 3-7-1. So yeah, they're just in a really bad rut. And right now, I just don't see a way out of it for them. I just don't see how they're going to pull themselves out of it with the way they're playing. I just don't see it at all. And just, this penalty was a really tough call. It just wasn't a penalty. It was not. Travis Sanheim gets called for holding against Maltsev. And literally, the guy is holding Sanheim's stick. And Sanheim gets called for holding. It's not a penalty. It wasn't a penalty. And on that ensuing power play for the Devils, Kevin Hayes makes a terrible mistake. Just a terrible mistake. He grabs the puck out of the air. Instead of throwing it to the corner, this is with the final 10 seconds in the period on the power play. Grabs it, doesn't throw it to the corner, decides to throw it into the middle of the ice. Flyers can't grab the puck. And then Bratt gets the puck, somehow lands on the stick of the Devils, gets it over to Kyle Palmieri, who one time surpassed Carter Hart, and it's a 2-1 Devils lead with 5 seconds left in the period. Just a terrible play. It was a terrible decision by Kevin Hayes. Don't throw it into the middle of the ice, throw it to the corner, and get a board battle to the end of the period. That's what you do. You don't throw it into the middle of the ice like he did. And that cost him. That definitely cost him. And the same thing happened in the second period. Not necessarily with a hand pass, but just mistakes in your own zone. Phil Myers. He turns the puck over, can't win the board battle, Devils jump on it, and it's a one-timer for Yegor Sharangovich. That's a hard name to pronounce, but Sharangovich makes it 3-1 Devils. And the Flyers, they had their chances in this period. They had their chances to score shorthanded as well. They got a couple of penalties. Devils went on a couple of power plays. Couturier and Farabee had a chance. Farabee made a nice pass over to Couturier. Puck was a little bit ahead of Couturier when he shot it, so the puck hit the post on a 2-on-1. Kevin Hayes had a breakaway. He missed the net. So Flyers had a couple of their chances as well in that period, and they couldn't bury it. And even, too, the Flyers had, I think, after the Farabee goal, had a couple of chances to bury it, and they couldn't. So it was one of those situations where they just couldn't. And you had another late ball buster goal in this period by Travis Zajac. Just a passing play by the Devils, and Zajak's just net front to bury it in. And it's a 4-1 lead for the Devils. And just, at this point, you just say to yourself, you're losing 4-1 to the goddamn Devils. Come on, this team is not good. They're a very young team, they're a very inexperienced team, and even though they have a good future, right now they're not a good team. And even though Mackenzie Blackwood for the Devils, yes, he's been playing good for them, and he had a good game today, but the Flyers just won too many mistakes, and that's what cost them in this game. It cost them a lot. And just not having the energy to start off, that's also what kills you. It's what allowed the Devils to get their game. And you tried making that comeback in the third period. You get the goal by Sean Couturier, nice little passing play between him and Konechny. JVR also gets the other assists. Sean Couturier makes it 4-2 Devils. And then you pull the goaltender, another couple of passing plays with the empty net, and Sean Couturier manages to get the puck into the net when it's a 4-3 Devils game. And you try pulling the goalie again, it doesn't work for you. It just doesn't work for you at all. And the Flyers, they did have a couple of power plays in this period as well. They had a power play in the beginning of the third period. No, actually, I'm reading this completely wrong. They had no power plays in the third period. No team had a power play in the third period. I was reading the second period of power plays. So yeah, it was just not a good effort by the Flyers. Just not. First period was absolutely terrible. And you had to find your way to crawl back into this game. You had to score in those shorthanded opportunities, and you cannot have that terrible start. You just cannot. You cannot have that start. Just can't. Even though the Flyers, they did outshoot the Devils in this game. They were outshot in the both first and second period, but the Flyers almost over doubled the Devils in shots in the third, 16-7. And the Flyers outshot them for the game 33-32. Flyers dominated in the face-off circle. Both teams scored one power play goal. Hits were there. It was a very heavy penalized game. Flyers blocked 16 shots while the Devils blocked 14. And yeah, there it is, 13 giveaways. Even though the Devils had 10 giveaways as well, Flyers had 13. And in those 13, a lot of those led to your goals against. And there's not more to say. There's just not more to say because it's the same things that bite this team back every single game. The same mistakes. They're not good in their own zone. They turn the puck over way too much. Their goaltenders haven't been playing their game basically the entire season, especially in this month. And the Flyers, in their last 11, they're 3-7-1. And right now, I don't see them getting out of this rut that they're in because of the way they're playing. And if you look at the standings currently, they definitely updated after tonight. Flyers are now, I think that they're now 2 points still behind the Boston Bruins. They're 15-12-4. But if you add those up, they're technically under 500 if you add the overtime losses and the regulation losses. So technically they're 15-16 if you want to count it that way. So 34 points, they're 2 points behind the Bruins, but the Bruins have 3 games in hand, and the Bruins are dealing with a little bit of their COVID situation, so they haven't been playing recently. So the Bruins still have games in hand. Flyers are 6 points behind the Penguins, they're 10 points behind Washington, they're 12 points behind the Islanders. There's no way this team is catching those guys. Like, your only chance is 4th place if you're saying this team makes the playoffs. And also, you got the Rangers creeping up right behind you as well. Rangers got 32 points on the season, and they've been playing a lot better as of late. If you look at the goal differential this year, Flyers are at a -14 goal differential. And the Rangers, they've been playing a lot better. Like I said, they're at a +12. And I know that game where they lost 9-0 definitely didn't help on the goal differential sheet, but still. If you took those 9 goals off, technically they would be a -5 in the goal differential, but still. You can't be a -14 in goal differential if you want to make the playoffs. You can't be this bad defensively if you want to make the playoffs. It's simple as that. And who knows when the moves are going to be made. And Thursday, it's going to be really interesting. Flyers are playing the Rangers. First meeting since the 9-0 embarrassment. So who knows what type of energy is going to be in that game. Just, who knows? You can never tell. You can never tell with this team. Just never can. So, that's going to do it for this video. Just overall, just not a good game. Not a good game at all. So, What are your thoughts on this game, everyone? What are your thoughts on this video? Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section as always. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I am a part of. Don't forget to check out the Fired Up podcast and merchandise website. Also with Flyers Nitty Gritty. Those links will be in the description below. I think we're doing a Fired Up podcast tomorrow evening, so definitely stay tuned for that. And also just don't forget to comment on this video. Don't forget to like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, everyone. And I'll see you next time. It's not fun. It's not fun. I want baseball back. I want baseball back.